Okay, welcome everyone. So my name is Phuc Dang, the founder of FOSSASIA. I will be moderating this upcoming panel. Today I have here together with me three very special guests. They are coming from a very diverse background. They will share with us today their stories, experience working with the tech community, and they will also share with us best practices, how we can grow the FOSS communities to build a future of tech, spark local innovation, and shape the future of the industry. With that, I would like to introduce our panelists. First of all, I would like to introduce Dr. Ngô Hồng Sơn. So Dr. Sơn is the head of the Faculty of Computer Science at Phuc University. He is also wearing another hat as the chairman of the Vietnam Free and Open Source Software Club, FOSSA. And so welcome, very happy to have you here today. And next to Dr. Sơn, I have here a very famous feature in the tech here in Vietnam. Many young people probably recognize him already. Mr. Hiếu Lê, he is the Vice General Director of Viettel Solutions. And he is the co-founder Vietnam OpenStack User Group back in 2013. Hiếu, we are very happy to have you here. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. Last but not least, I have next to me William Chiang, a guest flying over from Beijing, China. Yeah. So William is the open source evangelist of Open Source Program Office at ByteDance. As we know, the company behind TikTok. Your Chinese name is Chen Ning. Okay. Chen Ning. Yeah, Chen Ning is the principal open source evangelist. This is his official title. And similar to Dr. Sơn, he has another hat as well. He is the board director of the Apache Software Foundation in 2023. Welcome to Vietnam. And I hope you like the country, and thank you again for accepting the invitation. So mình có chỉ nói tóm tắt sơ qua, các bạn cũng biết anh Sơn là trưởng khoa công nghệ thông tin bên trường Phuc, còn Hiếu các bạn là phó giám đốc của Viettel Solutions, và Hiếu cũng là người sáng lập ra cái cộng đồng tech rất là lớn ở đây là OpenStack. Còn anh Chan Ning William này là người từ Bắc Kinh qua, là cái người tập trung làm về open source ở công ty ByteDance, là cái công ty TikTok á. Thì mình hồi nãy giờ mình biết TikTok, nhưng mà họ có một cái đội làm về mã nguồn mở rất là lớn, thì cái anh này là anh lead cái đội đó. Okay. To kick things off, I would like to ask the panelists the first question. Very simple, just to understand a little bit more about your background. Could you provide some insight into your involvement within your own organization and the specific role that you currently undertake? Dr. Sơn, so with your case, I assume that you can talk about FOSSASIA and your current role as a chairman.
So, hello everyone. My name is Ngô Hồng Sơn from Phuc University. I work there as the Dean of the Faculty of Computer Science just for all my life. And I also serve as the FOSSASIA chairman as my passion to serve the open source software in Vietnam. And yeah, I think as FOSSASIA chairman, I act as a person who coordinate activity to develop the open source software community in Vietnam. Okay.
Thank you. So, coordinate the software open source activities. Can you give some examples? What kind of activities FOSSASIA are focusing on?
Yeah, actually, in Vietnam, FOSSASIA coordinates a lot of activity related to FOSS. For example, we organize events to such kind of event. For example, this kind of FOSSASIA event, we also separate another activity like a Software Freedom Day, and we also coordinate with another community, like for example with OpenStack to broadcast activity related to OpenStack, etc. A lot of such kind of activity.
Okay, thank you. How about you? Are you still actively involved in OpenStack user group?
Yeah, still active in the development of the OpenStack community in the world. So my name is Hugh. Vietnamese is Hiếu, but there are a little bit problem to pronounce, so you can call me Huge, big. Yeah, and I found the OpenStack cloud computing community in Vietnam more than 10 years ago, and after that I joined. So currently I'm not only the vice general director in Viettel Solution, I'm also the vice chairman of FOSSASIA. So he my boss, and in Viettel and another company. So I have the role for motivate the employee and the developer community inside the company to active involved in the open source community. So we have a team of the contributor to contribute to some of the famous open source software like OpenStack, Kubernetes, Ceph, Prometheus, and we not only contribute to the code but also the design. And we have the team to attend the conference all over the world in the last 5 years. And this not only from Viettel, but also we as the FOSSASIA, we have motivate another company to join the open source activities like FPT, or here there are another company here. Yeah.
This is really amazing. I did not know that Viettel has so many open source contributors.
Yeah.
I know that you are very active, and I know that some people here in the room also the member of OpenStack, but I didn't know the company like give the employees the time to contribute to open source. This is excellent. We need to tell the example more to the world. So Viettel, for the guests in the room, so they are one of the biggest telecom company here in the country. How many people do you have in Viettel Solutions?
The employee.
Yes.
We have more than 30,000. 30,000 people in Viettel.
In Viettel, how about the engineers within Viettel Solutions?
Engineer is almost 50%.
50% engineers.
50% engineer.
15,000 engineers.
Yeah.
That is wow.
So the
Amazing.
engineer is not only focused on the developing, but also we focus on the building and operating and R&D. Yeah. Because we not only work in the normal area, but we work in the military and something else. So that's why the people. And Viettel is not in Vietnam. We have another 10 countries all over the world that we invest. Yeah. So that's why the.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. So a lot of, we want to hear more about the story. I understand that there are also a few other speakers from Viettel here at the conference. Yeah. Okay, thank you for getting your team members to join us. How about William? So this is your turn. Please tell us a little bit more about what is the open source program office at Phuc Dang? What do they do exactly? And what is your role?
Yeah, I think we play as a bridge. As you know, open source world is quite different compared to the company side. And for Phuc Dang, we have a bunch of engineers and who have very passionate about the open source. We are not just using the open source in our product. We also contribute to the upstream and produce the open source project. If you're interested, you can go to our booth. We list our top 7 projects we have. But Wednesday, we have more than 50 projects open sourced. And in this way, I think there are still different ways when we doing the things in open source and in the company side. And one of my important job is just like help the engineer to know better about the open source world and be a good citizens in the open source world and to fertilize the collaborations. And in another way, it's like we are working close with the open source community, and this year's response to the FOSSASIA summit and try to promote our open source project. And it's like we can build some collaborations in a more widely world in open source.
Yes, I understand. So you mentioned that you have the top 7 open source projects released by ByteDance. Could you name like the top 2 to see if people in the audience are aware of those?
Oh, yeah, such as Kubewolf. It's based on the Kubernetes technologies, but we did some. It's a big umbrella project, and we have scheduler or some resource planning sub projects to address the daily programs in ByteDance. And we just want to share it with the community. And we also, in ByteDance, we also have some cloud service. And in this way, we can build a bridge to talk to the customer, work with the customer on the open source community side, and to get some requirements and to polish the product. And I think this is very unique ways we can do in open source.
Very interesting point. You mentioned that you use the technology within ByteDance, and therefore you contribute and think that it's good to release to the community. I think what you and Hugh mentioned, there's something in common. So actually both companies, and not only Vitel and ByteDance, a lot of big corporations around the world, they contribute a lot to Kubernetes. This is the infrastructure side, right? Could you, Hugh, why you mentioned that your engineer contribute to Kubernetes? Also, right? Is that Vitel using the technology within Vitel solution?
So in Vitel, we have the first thing we invest in the open source from 2018, and we use OpenStack and Kubernetes to build our private cloud. And in the last 2 years, we opened the new service calling the Vitel Cloud. So this is the public cloud, and that's the reason why we invest more in the in OpenStack and Kubernetes. Yeah, but I'm attending this panel not because I'm from Vitel. Yeah, so I'm someone called me that open source evangelist, and I have the role of the chairman. So I can say something about Vitel, but I will say more about our open source community in Vietnam. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so thank you everyone here for the insight into what you are doing. So I would like to moving on to the next question. But before that, I would like to ask the audience, các bạn có nghe diễn giả rõ hay không vậy? Các bạn nào mà không nghe rõ giơ tay dùm ở phía sau. Tại mình, tức là các bạn đều có nghe rõ đúng không? Em không nghe rõ hả? So I think that we just speak up a little bit on the mic. So chỉ một chút tóm tắt về cái phần các anh đã thì anh William này thì ảnh làm cho cái bộ phận nguồn mở ở ByteDance TikTok, những cái công ty lớn. Tại sao mà người ta quan tâm tới mã nguồn mở? Lý do là vì họ sử dụng những cái công nghệ mở sẵn có hiện tại trong công ty của họ. Ví dụ cái công ty mình đang sử dụng là Kubernetes, nhưng mà mình cũng muốn cái Kubernetes upstream đó họ sẽ implement những cái feature mà có thể phục vụ cho công ty của mình. Đó là lý do mà những công ty họ contribute back một mặt đó là để có lợi cho công ty của họ, mặt khác đó là cộng đồng có thể review, cộng đồng có thể giúp ích để cho một cái solution tốt hơn cho tất cả. So đó là lý do mà những cái organization hoặc những công ty người ta đầu tư vô open source. Em có nghe rõ không? Okay, very good. So we moving on to the next question. So I would like to ask Dr. Sơn about you running the FOSSASIA, the club Okay. So, what do you think are the biggest barriers for newcomers to join and contribute to the communities? What are some of the challenges, the barriers that prevent the newcomers? So, for example, here we have some young developer and student. They want to join OpenStack, for example, or they want to join Kubernetes as a contributor, or they want to join FOSSASIA as a member. So what do you think is a challenge for young people, for newcomers? And how can we overcome those challenges?
Okay. So the first point, I think that's open source world is very complex, quite complex. So it is the first barrier to prevent anyone, especially student, for example, or another newbie, to explore the world's open source. A lot of projects. It's very diverse, and because now open source already developed for a long time, so when someone to get involved, so they don't know how to start. Yeah, the point we start. Yeah. So this is the first point. Another point is for each specific domain, they require special skill from technical, and also for another kind of issue like English. Yeah, especially for Vietnamese student. So this is another second thing is the technical and communication skill. Yeah. And also another point, for example, when we get some problem, how to ask people, yeah, who will be the best person to help us to resolve this problem. Yeah. A lot of point. Yeah. So yeah, I think to overcome this barrier, maybe I don't know the solution. Maybe each one must find his own solution. Yeah. So, for example, if someone can be very good at technical, yeah, he can join community and then find the solution, yeah, to get involved in this community. Yeah, yeah. I mean that's a lot of difficulty to get involved in it, and each one must find his own solution. Okay.
Yes, I totally agree with Dr. Song. So first of all, you mentioned about the complexity of open source system. So it's understandable. So many open source solutions developed for a long time, and they already have their own technology stack. And for new joiner, so before you can actually contribute to a project, you need to understand a system. And some system, for example, what can I say, like VLC. I have François, the core developer here at the summit. So basically, it's complex system. In order to get in, you need to understand, and it always takes longer time for the newcomers. The next thing that he mentioned is the language barrier. Yeah. So even if these days, a lot of young people here in Vietnam can communicate fluently and very comfortable with English, but to our culture, right? So we're not like go out there and speak up and connect to people. And another point that you mentioned is how to find the right person, yeah, to ask questions and to get the answer for what you need. So this is some of the challenges. And you also mentioned the what to do to overcome. Nếu mà các bạn, for example, like technical individual can contribute, like some project they have beginner issue. So this is something that you can start with. Yeah, so, and to add into this, you are running OpenStack, right, 10 years ago, yeah? So how many members do you have now in OpenStack?
5,000.
5,000 members, yeah?
Community member.
Yeah, community members. How many people actually contribute code?
Code is around 100.
Yeah, so maybe you could share a little bit, add on to what Dr. Seo mentioned about the strategy to get newcomers on board. So what would be the effective strategy to promote knowledge sharing and skill development within the FOSS community?
Yeah. So the true thing. Also, I have some visits to the company and some university. So there are two tickets that I want to share some thoughts. The first one is for the newcomer as a student. So because you may meet some barrier to join the FOSS community. So the first thing is you need to know the concept of the open source. It's not only about the open license, the OSI model or something else, but also the goal of the product and the goal of the community to avoid some barrier that the community do not want to meet. And the second thing that you as the newcomer and mostly the student need to think is that is your opportunity to improve your skill, and you will have a better job to join the open source community, because you will have a public profile and your CV is almost proof via your contribution. So we in Viettel and another company, we have some special interest in who join and contribute to the open source community. So the first thing is talking with the newcomer and the student that as the individual contributor to the community. The second thing is about the company. So if you have a product that based on the closed source, so you need to spend your manpower into invest in R&D and something else. But if you use open source and you have your team come up with the public developer in all over the world, if you choose the best open source product to invest in, so you will save your manpower, and then you will improve the skill of your the engineering teams. So thinking about the open source as an opportunity for not only the individual but also the company. So that's why I in last 10 years the principle of the cloud computing, open source cloud computing in Vietnam is 3C. The first thing is the community. The second thing is the company, and the last thing is the university, college, the GC. So we need to work and keep the relationship between the GC, company, community, and the college to gain from education, not only the education to the company, and then motivate the.
That is a very good point. So you mentioned companies, communities, and education. We actually have three people here can represent the three entities. So we have company, community, and someone represent education. So this is a very good panel that we have here. Hugh mentioned about the idea of open source. So the reason why we brought the open source FOSSASIA Summit to Vietnam. So at the conference 3 days, you can learn not only the concept of open source, but different software projects that you can use and contribute, and for the student, right? So cho các bạn trẻ đó, như anh Hiếu này có nói đó, là khi mà bạn contribute thì sẽ tạo ra được rất là nhiều cái cơ hội việc làm sau này. Chẳng hạn như công ty người ta tuyển nhân viên hay là tuyển lập trình viên thì người ta sẽ dựa vào những cái contribution trong có thể thấy ở trên Git hoặc là GitHub, GitLab này nọ để người ta biết được những cái kỹ năng của bạn như thế nào. Thì cái open source không phải là chỉ là ok xài free, cái gì cũng free, nhưng mà thật ra là có rất là nhiều công ty lớn adopt và cũng có thể là tạo ra được rất là nhiều cơ hội của việc làm cho các bạn trong tương lai. Back to William. So Hugh touched on the relationship between community and company. So actually, there's always a tension between commercial interests, and the ethos of openness and collaboration within the FOSS communities. How we can navigate this tension?
You mean to ease the tensions, or normally I think for the company. There's a business need to run. It's not charity organizations, and so when we talk about open source projects, there's some beneficial could bring to the company, and but I think the most important things that we pitches for the project for company to approve the project is more like it will help us to build up certain kinds of standard. And if the people, more and more people adopt these standards, it will benefit for the company. But I think it's not the easy ways to go that. And because there's a lot of choice, people can choose different implementations, and sometimes I think especially for the cloud provider, it's open up a way for us to collaborate with the customer. And I used to work for a big tech company, just Huawei, and we had this kind of issues before. It's like when we do some design in-house, it's really hard for us to meet the needs of the other customer. So normally, if we want to provide some good service to them, we send the people to the customers, and there may be a private branch there. And for one customer, it's okay. Two, it's okay. But if they scale up to 10 or 20 or 30, we don't have this kind of resources. And with help of the community in an open source way, it will it will help us to merge those features together, and we just need to maintain one branch. It saves a lot of developer resources, and I think this is quite beneficial we can get. And in this way, I'm still promote these kind of things. And when we talk about the new projects that come out from ByteDance, we just promote the upstream first principle, and make sure we can merge those things together. And if we can collaborate with the community, just like Kubernetes, we contribute this, and it will save us a lot of time to maintain the private branch. And I think this is quite important. And I used to work for Red Hat, and I think Red Hat just built the softwares with the open source community, and it's really a good way to do it. So from my understanding, there sometimes could be some interesting conflict, but if we can address it in a more easy way, and to force the communicate and collaboration, it's much easier for us to do the job.
Yeah. So you mentioned about bridging the gap between the open source communities and commercial interests. I just want to ask you a quick question. So, for example, within ByteDance, so does the company offer any incentives for engineers to contribute to the open source upstream that they rely on?
Oh, yeah, we try to build these kind of things because I think ByteDance is more a business-driven company, but for the engineer, they are very, from engineer perspective, if they can show their work to the public, it's a great incentives. And if they can get the respect from the community, I think they really need to do a lot of things, but there's still some conflict because the engineer may not have the extra time to do this because they have a lot of work to do. And so we are working on these parts. And in the meantime, we also try to collect the contributions from our developers to recognize them, to just like, it's really a good way for us to build a good image in the public. And we are still thinking, we also provide some open source ambassador programs. And in this way, so we can let the engineer who has open source experience to share, to showcase their progress, and to inspire more engineers to join us. But to be honest, there's still a long way to go.
Yes, I understand. So basically, what you mentioned is the initiative actually coming from the engineers themselves, so the bottom-up movement. So if there are more people within the company promote free software and open source, at one point the company will see the importance and start to invest in the topic. Yeah, so I think it's quite a it's similar the normal situation like everywhere. And also talk to a few companies in Europe, in Germany, and they follow the same path. So in the beginning, a group of engineers getting together in the company promote free software and open source, and then at one point the company was go to respond to the need and the wish of the employees.
Yeah, and there's another thing is like when I do my day job, I need to wear different hat.
Yeah.
And one is for the company, the other part is for the community. And I, as a board of director of the Aptitude Software Foundation, we saw there's a company common. There's some collaborations between the companies, and sometimes the company can drop up because there's maybe some misunderstanding or something, and be a bridge and think about the community interest is quite important. And with these two hats, it will help us to solve this kind of problem together.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. Mình muốn nói một chút xíu về không phải tóm tắt ý này, tất cả những cái anh đang ngồi trên này á, là đều có không chỉ làm việc ở công ty là không chỉ công tác ở công ty, công tác ở các trường đại học, mà các anh đều có những cái chức vụ khác ngoài cái công việc chính của mình là đóng góp cho cộng đồng và promote, và giống như là promote cái technology, promote cái user group and community outside cái công việc hàng ngày của các anh ở đây. Trước khi mà mình câu hỏi tiếp theo á, các bạn ở trong ngồi ở đây có câu hỏi gì cho panelists không? Okay, so I see a question there.
Hello, my name is Guangzhou. I'm from BTIT. I want to ask you guys something like, when you are working in outsourcing, what we need to do is going to be coming from our customer, right? So that's mean we need to flexibility about our programming language. So when another programming language is coming out, because we are making technologies going so fast right now, do we need to take so much time to learn that? And when we learn it, we still need to work, right? So how can we be ensured that we can make the deadline to maybe complete it to customer? So that's the first question. So the another question is gonna be like, maybe I just forgot it. So you guys just need to take this first question. So thank you.
Okay, so let me see if I can understand the question. So you're talking about when the fast throw of different technologies and how we can adapt so quickly with what coming out in the industry to be able to learn it so quickly and to offer it to the customer. Is that the main idea of the question? Yeah. So how engineer can pick up a new technology so quickly that they be able to offer it to their customer in the market. So, after a few years, we have a new technology come out. So in my opinion, I think that maybe Dr. Seung in education. So someone here, I don't know if he's in the audience, is it Rich or someone said that if you're an engineer, you can learn any languages. This is correct. Any engineer here. Yeah. So if you learn one language, you can also easily learn another language very quickly. That's correct. Yeah. You want to take this?
Yeah. I think if you want to catch up the latest technology, it's really a challenge. But I think if you work close with the open source community in certain areas, there's some just like a influencer or KOL that can give you some inspirations, and especially if there's some experienced developers. If you follow their Twitters or something, you can always see some interesting things. And if you try it out, and you can have a quick test if this is technology can solve your daily program. And I think the beauty of the open source is you can take it very easily, and because all the information is in the internet, and you can also ask your questions if you are not familiar with that. And open source community is quite helpful. And if you drop a mail to the mailing list, you will get a response from somebody you never meet before, but you will get their help from the heart. And in this way, so just keeping asking questions and seek for help, and you will find out a quick way to learn about that. And if you practice several years, you know how to learn the new tech in a very quick way.
So to give you some additional information, so I think there are two things to consider about getting the newest technology as soon as possible. The first thing is you need to think about what is the value that you will bring to you and your company that you work, to ensure that you will get at least the value of the work. Because if you learn about the new technology, but what you do about your product cannot go production in your company or something else. So this is a waste of time. So first thing, you need to ensure that. The second thing is you need to know about the community and join, go meeting with them in IRC or in video conference, or attending the conference like this. So you will have a chance to work with the developer community and learn about the concept about the designing this and why they use this technology. So there are two things. The most important thing that I think that you need to consider about learning. And I can give you an example here. So in the employee here, you have the new Trumano community, the open source community in Vietnam. That is the HXFF community that they form a new open source product to resolve the problem about the performance of the streaming media server SDN. And because they want to reduce the cost inside of the company, the cost about the operation, OPEX cost, and they want to get the better quality of the media server. So they form and they release a new product. The technology they use is Rust language because they want to reduce as soon as possible. And Rust is a very high performance language. This is very hard for the newcomer to join the community. But this is the target, and this is what they want to get the value. And only two manual, but there are some global developer that come show some interest. There are some individual developer from Google, AMD, some guys is from Biden, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so this is the interesting of the open source, and this is the value of that on the open source community that aim to. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Does it answer your question? Bây giờ mình sẽ nói một chút tiếng Việt. Thì hồi nãy cái bạn này có hỏi á, là công nghệ thay đổi mới như vậy, biết học cái nào á, mà có thể là đáp ứng được nhu cầu của thị trường, rồi những cái công nghệ mới ra đó làm sao mà học kịp. Tại vì khi ở trường lớp á, thì chưa chắc gì đã học được những cái mà người ta cần, đúng không? Thì như các anh ở đây trên đây đã nói á, thực ra là join cái open source community là một cách. Tại vì khi mà các bạn đã tới đây thì những cái mà technology mà các bạn nhìn ở trong cái program hôm nay á, thật ra là những cái technology mà hiện tại các công ty đang sử dụng, là những cái technology mới bây giờ. Còn nếu muốn học á, thì cái open source đưa ra cái điều kiện rất là tốt, là có thể là hỏi những cái anh chị trong cộng đồng, và những cái code này nọ đều open hết. Có nhiều cách học trên trường lớp hoặc là học trực tiếp, là người ta viết code như thế nào, người ta mở code cho mình thì mình dựa vào đó mình tự học. Thì để mà to open source also like joining the community, understand the collaboration and the openness of open source could be adding into your question how you can learn so quickly and get into the industry. So I hope that answered your question. So we don't have time to take another question from you,
okay.
but I hope that satisfy you. To continue, I would like to ask Dr. Sung similar topic, right? So he asking about like getting into the new technology. So I want to know what role do education institutions play in nurturing the FOSS and the tech talent in contributing to these communities that Hugh mentioned or William mentioned just now.
Actually, education organizations can do a lot to support the open source community. For example, this event, for example, located at the TIT, and we have a lot of speakers, we have a lot of activities related to open source, and this is one of very valuable activity that an educational organization can bring to our students. Yeah, and not only PTIT, but we have also a lot of students from a network of university. Yeah, at least 10 or 12 university around Hanoi come here, and this is a very good chance for them. Yes, and another thing, of course, educational organizations now they adapt a lot of open source in their course, in their curriculum. Yeah, of course, in the university you have the education, training, and also innovations, and we should integrate the FOSS, the FOSS strategy in our curriculum, and by this way, our students can learn and can get adopt to the FOSS community. Yeah. Actually, for the research and innovations, a lot of ideas from the FOSS can adopt in the work of researcher and also the engineer. So, yeah, by exploiting the literature and introduce new idea using FOSS, we can help a lot our students to for the future if they can use open source.
Yeah, so thank you. I just want to mention that I think the last 3 days I have met at least 20 lecturers from different universities at the conference. So that is a very positive side for the summit, because not only like the student, the developers come here to learn something, but the educators like yourself, Mr. Sung. So I just want to mention again, he's the head of the Faculty of Computer Science at a very big university here. So if you support open source and bring the idea to your university, how many students actually in the department of
at this point, you have around 2,000 students.
2,000 students. So if we can get this 2,000 students at one point to become the new open source contributors, that would really helpful for the ecosystem. I think we start a little bit like 2 minutes later. So I think I would take one more question from the audience. If there is any other question from the audience, we have time for one more question. Please. In the middle.
So I have only one question. Am I right? Only one question. So I have only one question.
Yes,
right?
please.
All right, cool. So I'm really honored to be here.
Can
To
you
meet all
stand up?
those specialists. Sitting is okay lah. I'm had I got the problem, so better for me to think. So I got the question for Mr. Hill and his boss about the community in Vietnam. So the young generation and the guy over there from the universities are the to make resources for the open source in the future, right? And what I hear from you guys, for me, is a little bit theoretically problems. As you go around, we have to go to the open source community and we upstream and we have a support from other people, but I really want to hear the strategy for the reaction to the future. So what would be strategy of the FOSSASIA in the future to nurture generations, to nurture the new generation and nurture the open source community in Vietnam, for example? And let's go straight to the point, like, hey, 1 month we're going to have a open talk about open source. Another month we're going to have, the meeting with the university in Vietnam. So I really want to hear what exactly the strategy and the mindset the FOSSASIA is going to drive the growth of the open source in Vietnam. That's it.
So let me sum up the question. So you would like to hear the strategy to nurture fostering the open source idea and movement in the country. Is that what you're asking?
You're right. Yeah, but not going around and around. It's talking about theory. Hey, we have to go to upstream, but we don't want to see the real actions, real activities, because people are just here like, hey, we have to upstream, we have community, right? But how to join? Well, I think FOSSASIA is the biggest community in Vietnam, the representative for all of the open source community, and they need to have specific strategy to drive it, and I don't hear it.
Okay. So, okay, I got the question, so maybe I will answer and then you can ask later. We discussed a lot about how to develop open source community in Vietnam on behalf of FOSSASIA. We find some problem. First is that FOSSASIA is not gather enough members in Vietnam. We have only 60 or 70 company member. That means not so weak. So I think we can get bigger than that. This year or next year, we call for the participant of more company, more group to join us. Yeah, I think we can get at least, for example, 200 or 300 company to join us, to support us. We must get larger. Now a little bit small. Yeah. The second thing is that we need the support from the government. Yeah. At this moment, I think the government still are not support enough. For example, we ask government to use open source solutions. The government should use a solution based on open source in their organizations, but still not enough. Okay, so this is a very good example to reduce costs, to increase transparency in the government, and this is one of our future work to persuade the government to use more open source in their organization. Another thing, for example, in education, we found that not so much OER, for example, are used in university, in school. Yeah, only a few. But now you see, now open educational resource in the world, there are a lot. But in Vietnam, still very small amount of OER are used in school, in university. So this is another point that we can do a lot in the future. And in research, for example, sorry, a little bit time. When we work with European research projects, they require us to use open source software in all the world in the research. But in Vietnam, no obligations. You can use commercial software in research funded by government. It's not reasonable. Yeah, so that's some point that people can do in the future. And also, of course, another thing that we took out the more company to involve us is this.
So
Okay.
I think this question is a very good question to conclude this panel. Thank you very much for that question. So how we can push more in open source? What are the real action that we can do? So I can talk on the FOSSASIA. I'm representing FOSSASIA here. So over the past few years, we have trained thousands of developers from everywhere around the world to join the ecosystem. And a few things that Odin mentioned here today, we organize gathering like this face-to-face where people can meet and learn from each other. So if we have more people who do this kind of activities, organize meetup, organize an event, create a platform where people can connect. So this is first. The second thing, Mr. Cheng mentioned education. We need more professor, we need more lecturer to bring the idea to their university. And the third point, which is someone represent the company here, we need initiative coming inside the company to promote the idea and get more engineer to contribute to the ecosystem. And to sum up, everyone here in the audience, we can all do our job. So we need more people. If we want to train more people, we need more people to promote the idea and to talk about different solutions that we can have to sustain the world. So with that, I would like to end the panel here, and a very big round of applause for our panelists, please. Thank you very much for your participation.
Maybe some miss. So I want to correct a little bit because Dr. Sơn mentioned about the open education resource, not only the education that you mentioned, right? Yeah. So because in Vietnam we not only on open source software, we have the open source hardware, or we have the open education, and we have a little bit about open policy. So like for example, we in 63 provinces, the Prime Minister of Vietnam issues the DTI, so the Digital Transformation Index, that have some item to request every government system open the API for another company to access. Another thing that in the last year we have the issues, the decrees 1177 from Prime Minister to order on the universities in Vietnam that have the open education resource that following that program. So this is the politics and the governance policy. Besides that, we have some like event or some meetup or some community in Vietnam that Dr. Sơn mentions. So do not think about open source software that we have developer or users. We have open hardware. We have the open policy, and we have the open education resource that we can gather more and motivate to contribute more. So that's correct. Yeah.
Yes, so that is excellent to mention that Vietnam is really open to adapt open source in different levels, and we can find more information on the.
You can ask Mr. Sơn here. He's chairman of FOSSA. Or here is Mr. Nghĩa, the founder of the OER in community in Vietnam. Yeah. So mostly you can ask Mr. Sơn. Thank you.
And so with that, thank you for mentioning open source hardware and policy. We actually have open source hardware track going on at the moment in room 102, I believe. So if you're curious about what is open source hardware or what are the projects that develop this day in the community, you can visit the hardware track. Once again, thank you very much.